It's the Project 100.7 and 106.3. I am Josh Martinez, and we are hanging out with Manchester Orchestra. What's going on, fellas?
I like that. Chester.
Well, it's the
good.
New York thing.
Yeah, no, I like it.
I can't help it. I get it all the time.
I like it.
There's an artist named James. His name is James Arthur. And I always get made fun of because I say Arthur
instead
the
of
wrong
Arthur.
way. Yeah. And I have a little cousin who's named Arthur, but I say Arthur. And to me, if we're talking about the aardvark from PBS or someone that writes a book, Arthur and Arthur, and to me, I say two different things, but apparently not.
No, I think you did. Arthur and Arthur.
Arthur and Arthur. To me, that's two different words.
Yeah,
but I know
I think it's right. No, you're right.
But you guys are from Atlanta.
That's
is that
right,
correct?
yep.
So, and I was asking Dubs this behind the scenes a little bit before, and this is no disrespect to the ATL, I promise. But growing up in Brooklyn, anytime you heard about Atlanta, it's Little John, it's Outkast, it's this huge hip hop community.
Yep.
You don't really hear too much about rock coming out of the ATL. Did you guys were you worried coming out of Atlanta, or I mean, how was that?
We had to make our name elsewhere, and by going on tour, because there really wasn't a scene that we were a part of. So going into other markets like Nashville or Birmingham, and then down to Florida and South Carolina, North Carolina, and just start kind of circling. And once we started getting a couple hundred people at shows around there, it sort of started to trickle into Atlanta, and then we started to build up our own scene. But even to this day, we were talking, there are great bands in Atlanta, but none that have really broken through in a really long time on a national level. There's, acts like Mastodon and Deer Hunter who obviously do really well.
Yeah.
But still, those bands are both over a decade old, as are we. So, yeah, it's interesting. But it's almost like the amount of hip-hop and creativity that comes from there is enough. They certainly hold it down on the musical front.
So you guys have been in the game doing it for about 15 years now, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
somewhat, yeah.
So do you feel any pressure to try to, and using hip-hop terms here, put people on? Because you've named that there's a lot of great acts from probably the Athens area included, I'm sure, with UGA being there. Do you feel any pressure to try to help out other local acts?
Sure, you always want to. We throw a festival every year in Atlanta called The Stuffing the night before Thanksgiving, and it's a great place to showcase new artists. That's how we got our start. Somebody has to put you on and give you that stamp of approval. And so anytime that we can share our influence with something we believe in is always a win for both sides,
And for a few years, you guys have been doing kind of the podcast/hybrid video behind the scenes stuff. And you guys have been doing it for, since, 10 years?
Yeah, 2006,
So
before it was a thing, for sure.
I was about to say, you guys are kind of pioneers in that aspect. What made you guys decide, we're going to start recording these little digital shorts, we're going to get them up on YouTube or Facebook or whatever it is nowadays that you guys might use?
Just being from the Jackass nation of in high school, watching those dudes and CKY videos and skate videos, watching dudes film themselves and being funny. And then we had a bass player that loved to record and edit movies, so we thought, we'll just do that for our band. And it ended up being this really cool way as we grew and the fans grew with us to keep in touch. We don't do as much of them anymore, but yeah, that was a big thing.
So you have a new single, The Moth.
Yep.
And actually, Dubs is going to have to answer this for us. I don't know if it's coincidence, but the first time it's going to be played on Cincinnati radio will actually be tomorrow.
Amazing.
So the first time that your new single, The Moth, will get played in Cincinnati is going to be on the Project 100.7 and 106.3
Incredible.
Tomorrow. So no pressure to kill it extra today when you hit the stage. No pressure at all.
No.
We could butcher the song and no one would know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, we'll fix it tomorrow when they hear the studio version.
Yesterday, Third Eye Blind performed, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna do stuff off our new record," and that's not even out yet. And
right.
a lot of people were like, "Oh,
no,
we don't." I don't know. People want to sing along and stuff like that. So it's always interesting when you guys put together festival set lists. Doing headlining The Stuffing, for example, is different than doing a festival, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, "Okay, heard about them," or "I might know this song or that song." When you guys put together your sets for festivals compared to, let's say, headlining The Stuffing, what's the biggest difference that you see?
They're all bangers at a festival. We don't want to give anybody who's watching a chance to be like, this is kind of boring, I'm going to go get a beer and walk away. You want to kind of try and reach them. And really the goal of a festival is to reach the people that are walking by who haven't heard of you before, and for them to notice what you're doing and pay attention, and you get a new fan. We know our fans are going to love our show because they love our songs, and we make sure we're not doing some contrived BS kind of set list. But no, that's just harder because it's an hour of just nonstop kind of slamming you.
So, like we said before, you guys are from Atlanta. Now, growing up, what were your musical inspirations growing up?
We both grew up kind of in a religious household, so it was a lot of, if you like Nirvana, you'll like DC Talk. If you like Rage Against the Machine, you'll like POD. And then that mixed with oldies, and then it was literally about like buying CDs and sneaking them into your house. So, you know, we grew up on Radiohead, all that stuff, loving it, and then got more into some of the side stuff like Built to Spill, Wilco, Page of the Lion, Granddaddy. And now it's just, I kind of love all music. We don't really find like a genre that we listen to. It's always just kind of like anything from,
I've been asking this to all the artists that have been coming by over the last 6 to 12 months. What artists have been inspiring you? Because obviously, I'm sure you know the POD and stuff like that is great, and you remember that. No. Listen, I still rock. WEBN 102.7 plays some POD, and I rock out to it. I'm a fan of their stuff. But is there anybody over the last 6 to 12 months that might even surprise us, like a Kanye or something that's kind of inspired you?
Of course, Kanye inspires everybody. I think. Honestly, the last couple records that I really loved was the last Bon Iver record and the last War on Drugs record. And then, the new Pusha T record is incredible that came out, and the new
Super
Kanye
dope.
that came out is incredible, and I'm excited to watch what he's going to do all summer long. That's the most exciting thing happening right now, in my opinion. We definitely like hip-hop a whole lot more than you would think. I'm definitely kind of ahead on it, so...
My kind of guys. So now Kanye's entire rollout is actually 7-song albums.
Right.
To qualify for the Grammys, it's got to be 5 individual songs at least,
right.
And I think 23 minutes or something
right.
like that. When putting together albums, do you guys try to hit 12 tracks, 8 tracks, 15 tracks? Do you guys, or do you just say the best of these 80 that we just
We've
made?
always let it be what it's going to be, but we've never had a song... We've only had records that have 10 or 11 songs every time. Never any more than 11. Because and just as a music fan, anything more than 11 generally for a band or hip-hop's a little different because they can go further with doing more, or sometimes with a rock record that gets to like 80 minutes. It's a little brutal.
Well, I was going to say, like, Life After Death by
Right.
the Notorious B.I.G. is my favorite album of all time. Double disc, 20-something plus tracks. But, I mean,
It's
breaking
got
up the hip-hop difference. Absolutely.
Yeah, and tons of skits and stuff like that on those records that would take up half an hour of time.
Yeah.
But I love that he's doing that. I think it's genius, too, really. Like, I heard somebody on a podcast the other day say every album ends up being 7 songs because you pick the ones that you like and you don't like certain ones, and you got like 7 songs. Those are your ones that go through. So he's sort of mainlining that and getting right to the point, which is cool. It's cool to challenge yourself to be focused like that.
So you guys just recently dropped an album.
Yeah.
Are you guys already working on the next project, or are you just letting this album rock? You're doing the touring, the festival stuff, and taking it all in, or are you guys already on the wave towards the next album?
I mean, we're on the wave for sure. It hasn't manifested into any concrete Manchester material yet. We just finished scoring our second movie, which is always a big influential push for us into figuring out what to do next and challenging the way we make music. And then we have some really cool stuff coming out in about a week that we can't announce yet because it's just about to, but we've got a really cool rollout for this summer.
So you have something cool, announcement in about a week or so. Yeah. How can fans stay in touch with
Follow
Manchester
us on
Orchestra?
socials, you know where to find us, search our name, Manchester Orchestra. We'll be announcing something within the next week.
And selfishly, being that you guys are from Atlanta, that was a huge hotbed for wrestling.
Yeah.
Were you guys ever wrestling fans growing up?
Yeah, of course.
Who was your favorite wrestler of all time?
The Wolfpack. Just the whole brand.
My
Arriba
man.
la raza.
I like this guy right here, right? Although WWE was always better than WCW. And
Not for those 2 years, though.
All right,
Not
83 weeks. We get it. All right.
83 weeks.
83 weeks, Nitro beat Raw, but whatever. Minor details. Manchester Orchestra, one more time. Thank you guys for coming by.
Thank
you
you,
guys
man.
just made this interview a hell of a lot more fun, but I also disliked you guys a lot based on that response. It's iHeartRadio, The Project, 100.7, 106.3, baby.